Dr. Ruth Anderson here with Enlightened World Network. I'm here with three beautiful soul sisters, Teri Angel, Sharon Carne, and Keira Lani. We are doing a four-part series. It is the Triune Nature's Bless Humanity series. It is here on EWN One with the Earth, and we are so excited to have you here with us. Last week, we received blessings from the Waterways. Today, we're receiving blessings from the mountains, and next Wednesday, we're receiving blessings from the trees. This series will culminate with a session during Unity Week, June 24th, and it's called Become a Beacon of Light, Crystalline Grid, Tree, Mountain, and Waterway Blessing. So thank you so much for being here. Teri, would you set the space for us?
I would love to. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited that you're here with us today. Let's go into our heart center. Just stay present with me. Take that deep breath in. And as you do so, I'm going to invoke the energy of our beautiful angels to surround us. First, from the east, the beginning place, with the element of air, and calling in Archangel Raphael. Just feel his energy as he comes in, maybe with a gentle breeze, maybe with a strong wind. However he appears to you, just welcome him in to the circle. I'm invoking the energy of Archangel Michael to surround us and protect us as we do this service today of honoring the mountains. Michael comes in with the energy of fire. And then going to the west, calling on Archangel Gabriel with the energy of water. Gabriel helps us to see clearly and to speak clearly to where this energy is brought forth in a beautiful way. Moving to the north, we invoke the energy of Uriel. Uriel with the element of earth, grounding us, balancing us, holding us as we do this work. I also want to invite Archangel Metatron, bringing in the crystalline grid for us to connect to that powerful vortex energy. Archangel Sandalphon, bringing up the earth energy vortex. And then I invite in Divine Mother, Christ consciousness energy, and Source Creator to be very present with all of us here today. I invite you to breathe in again and feel this divine presence that has just entered our midst as we go now to this program where we honor, respect, and revere our planet Earth.
Oh, Teri, what a beautiful blessing. When you spoke source creator energy, I felt the presence so strongly. And I was reminded of the way that the ancient masters have seen for eons, the way that the energy comes into creation, the oneness that divides into duality and expresses itself through the triune nature of life. And when I speak to the triune nature, your mind might immediately think of the Christian Trinity. But this power of threes has been present in ancient traditions throughout the ages. And in Taoist philosophy, they speak of how we as humans, which is also true of trees and mountains and all of life here on the planet, are a perfect blending of the energy of Earth, the most dense, heavy, cool energy, and the energy of heaven, the most expansive, hot, bright, moving energy. that blends together into this beautiful nature of life. And so when we speak of the triune, we're speaking of this blending of energies of the earth, the heavens, and the energy of life, of the mind, the body, and the spirit. And the mountains, the water, and the trees have stepped forth into our consciousness to be representatives of this triune energy, even as they each are embodying that in their own individual natures. And when we met in collaboration in preparation for this offering, we were coming with blessings for the water, the mountains, and the trees. And we heard a very strong calling for humanity to receive the blessings that the mountains, the water, and the trees have for us. These blessings are always available to us. Each time that you connect with a mountain, there is a blessing there for you. Each time you take a drink of water, breathe the fresh air, witness the new growth on the trees in the springtime, the flowers, the needles. Each and every moment of this life has an opportunity to receive these blessings from nature. So it is such an honor to be present with the amazing, majestic Mount Shasta as we bring through blessings for you from the mountains. Thank you so much for your presence here today.
We would like to start out this morning sharing our personal stories, our connections to the mountains. And Sharon, why don't you start us off?
Thank you, Ruth. I would so love to do that. I have a very special personal story and relationship with a mountain near us called Banded Peak. And I have an image of Banded Peak that I would love to share here so that people can see her, at least her physical form. So here we have an image of Banded Peak. It is about 40 minutes away from where I live here in Calgary, and it has this stripe across the top of the mountain, which is a huge cliff. And in the wintertime, when the mountain is covered in snow, then the banded peak shows as this stripe of dark color against the beautiful white of the snow. So this is Banded Peak. She is a sacred mountain in this area. And part of my story with Banded Peak and her is with a good friend of mine who has studied Peruvian shamanism for many, many years. And she tells me she shares with me quite a lot of the things that she's learning and is that what she's so excited about. And one of her teachers has the ability to call in the mountain spirits. And these are in Inca mythology, these are called Apu. And the Apu is the name given to these mountain spirits and to the mountains themselves. So my friend is always saying, we call in the Apu of Banded Peak. We call in the Apu of some of the other famous mountains that she has a connection with. Well, she told me about a ceremony that she did with her teacher where they were in a beautiful dark space like the womb of the earth, and he called in the mountain spirits, and they had an experience with the energy of them. They could not see anything because it was pitch black, but they could hear the sounds that these spirits created. And so she told me generally about the ceremony. And then not long after that, I'm driving down one of the main roads in Calgary on my way to an appointment. And all of a sudden, I become aware in my mind's eye of this being that just suddenly appears in the passenger seat right beside me in the car. And this being looked at me and said, I am Banded Peak, and I am here to teach you and help you. And I looked at this being, and as in my mind's eye, I could see dark brown, kind of or chocolatey dark brown skin, wrinkled, and I could see these beautiful, loving eyes, sparkling eyes, and wings that were like bats' wings. The skin was thick and leathery, and the body, and then thin arms and thin legs, and this presence that was so overwhelming. And I looked in my journal. I couldn't find the journal. I have so many journals where I wrote down more of our conversation. And when I got home, I called my friend and I said, "Is this what mountain spirits look like, really?" And she said, "Yeah. How do you know?" So I told her about the appearance of Banded Peak in my car. And since then, I have been so grateful with whenever Banded Peaks shows up in my awareness. This is a she. She is an ancient being and could be hundreds of millions of years old. So, can you imagine the wisdom that such a being has for us? I just, this is an ongoing relationship, and she did provide a message for us all to experience later on today.
Beautiful. Thank you. Teri.
That is so beautiful. And I love your mountain. I want to see it with my own eyes now. You've got me wanting to come up to Canada. So my story, I grew up in the mountains of Appalachia, and they are beautiful. Each mountain has its own energy. And as I've traveled to many mountains now, I've experienced that difference in the energy, that flavor that each one brings. But in the Appalachian Mountains, there, I feel like it's a feminine energy. So mountains can have that overpowering essence of either masculine or feminine energy, just like all beings can. And in that feminine energy, I felt protected. I felt safe. I would go up to a clearing on the side of the mountain by myself. I came from a big family, so that was my solace. I went to my clearing on the mountain, and that's where I would sit. And I didn't know that it was called meditation at the time, but that was my place of just being, just sitting there in that mountain energy. And I would call on my angels, because I've been seeing angels since I can remember anything. So they were always there with me. They were always guiding and protecting and showing me visions as I sat in that mountain and really connected in. I could see visions while I sat there in that clearing. So I love mountain energy. I'm a mountain girl. And, everywhere I go, I pay attention to what flavor the mountain has that I'm on. And I just love the energy from each one of them. And as I was reading through some information about mountains, I came across this quote that I would like to share. "Walking through a forest is like walking in a cathedral." And that's what it feels like. It's sacred. It's overpoweringly spiritual to walk into the area of the mountain, and just, even if there's no trees, if it's a mountain that's just rock, there's that feeling of being in that very spiritual, sacred place. So thank you for letting me share.
And Teri, that's beautiful. I live at the base of the Rocky Mountains. And every day when I would drive into school, I would get to the top of this crest, and there they are in all their glory. And it's a reset every day into loving and appreciating the nature and the divinity, just the creator who had the foresight to create all of this for us to enjoy. But the story I want to share was my family was going to go on a little vacation, and I had no idea where. And as typical, I checked in with Archangel Michael, and I said, "Where should we go?" And he said, "Garden of the Gods." Okay, so Garden of the Gods it's in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I thought, okay, where should I stay? And he kept guiding me to this one particular hotel. So we made the reservations for the hotel, and I was told exactly which kind of house to stay in. They've got houses and rooms, etc. And I kept being guided to this one. I said, fine. So we showed up, and when you looked out the back door, it was this amazing rock formation. And not only was it beautiful, but it had this energetic pull to it that I really couldn't understand. And I would close my eyes to go to sleep, and I could feel the pull from this mountain. And sometimes it was a push, sometimes it was a pull. So I was always aware of it. Everybody else would fall asleep, and I'm wide awake because I'm so caught up with the energy of this mountain. I'd never experienced that. And Teri and I, one of the days that I was there, we did a virtual mountain blessing. She was at Mount Shasta, I was at Garden of the Gods. And the energy between the two mountains during this blessing was absolutely palpable. So I'm a believer now. I'm so excited about that. Keira, what about you?
Mm. Well, as I'm joining you here from Mount Shasta, and what a perfect lead in, the connection between Mount Shasta and Garden of the Gods. We just started my retreat that I'm leading here yesterday evening, and it came through really strongly the connection between Mount Shasta and the Big Island of Hawaii. And the Big Island of Hawaii is the biggest mountain on the planet. She happens to be deep under the ocean, and yet this mountain is enormous. And there is a very strong connection. Many people say there is a rainbow bridge between Mount Shasta and Hawaii. And I have a very deep Lemurian connection, and the Lemurian people are very present in both of these locations. And so I love that. I love really bringing in that connection and communication between the mountains. That's so beautiful. And here at Mount Shasta, I did a personal retreat for my birthday 2 years ago, and I was able to connect with the council chamber underneath the mountain. They say there is the city of Telos under the mountain, and I was able to intuitively, telepathically communicate with these mountain spirit people that live inside of the mountain. And it was such a powerful recognition of how we're all connected, how we truly do exist in unity, and to feel that strong connection between Mount Shasta and Hawaii, which is miles across the ocean from me, is also an amazingly powerful recognition. And while I've been here in Mount Shasta, I was gifted a cloak of light that is made of fibers of light reminiscent of what they call Pele's hair, which is in that volcano. The Big Island of Hawaii is an active volcano, and Pele is the goddess of the volcano. And Pele's hair is a formation that is filaments like hair. And I actually, one of the times that I visited there, I found some, and I couldn't resist picking it up. And it was very sharp. It's like glass hair. And so I'm really integrating this idea of how the mountains are so much a part of the creation, not being a part of the creation, but a part of the creation, the process of creation, as well as being part of what is the product of the creation. And so whether it's volcanoes erupting and making an island larger in the ocean, or it's tectonic plates colliding and rising up out of the earth to create these dramatic peaks, the mountains form our planet as they are formed by our planet. And it's such a beautiful cyclical thing to witness. And in my family, my mother has a tradition of going to the top of a mountain for her birthday to celebrate her life. And this is connected to the traditions of all Indigenous people who go up to the top of a mountain to be closer to God, to pray. And when you go up to the mountain that my mom hikes to in Southern Oregon, you can see Mount Shasta from afar across many, many other peaks. These beautiful Red Butte wilderness with these red mountain peaks. And then we have Mount McLaughlin and we have the Table Rocks. And so in this region that we call the Klamath-Siskiyou bioregion, that Mount Shasta is kind of the central vortex of, there are many, many of these places where people go. And so if you have never been to the top of a mountain, I really invite you to find even a small hill to go to the top of and look out, because that feeling of being able to have that 360-degree view of the landscape of your area and really witness the shape of the land, the lay of the land, how are people integrated into the land, is such a powerful opportunity to feel that connection, to feel how the mountains are all connected and the people are all connected and the trees are all connected. And I have really been in the process of creating this offering, tuning into what would it feel like to be a mountain? So I really invite you all into this contemplation. And being here with Mount Shasta, I have been getting little glimpses. She's been really communicating with me and showing me what it feels like to be her, to have at one time one of her peaks blew off and landed nearby as a smaller peak that we call Black Butte, Shastina, or sometimes the Cinder Cone. She has many names. And and she showed me yesterday what it was like to witness all of the feet passing, all of the feet coming to visit her, worshiping and passing away, or just coming by, even the cars driving by. So mountains, as Sharon mentioned, they are ancient. They carry such deep wisdom, and they are witnesses of the passing of time. And the the trees, and I love how it says here, the trees hold the soul onto the mountains. And I think that was a typo for soil. But then I thought, well, gosh, what a beautiful idea that the trees are, because when I read that, I was like, the trees are part of the soul of the mountain. And then the soul, we are part of the soul of the mountain. And the mountain has presence, the mountain has consciousness. And when we look at the face of mountains, and this is especially present in the Rocky Mountains, and when I was out in Sedona, I really communed with the rock people out there. And the Native Americans speak to the rock people, and the rock people are also, they are part of the mountain, and they are also witnesses. They are council holders, they are space holders, wisdom keepers. And when you connect with the wisdom of a mountain or the wisdom of a rock, it is so deep and slow that it allows you to connect to things that you may miss in our regular fast-paced life. So it's such a beautiful opportunity to slow down and connect to that depth.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Kira. Sharon?
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful, Kira. And it fits perfectly with the message that Banded Peak has offered for towards the end of our broadcast today. I just love how things fit together so beautifully. And also I found an image of what I was trying to explain in our conversation and what you were saying, Kira, about the tectonic plates and kind of bunching together and forming the mountains. I have an image of Mount Rundle here that I want to share. This frames part of Banff, Canada. And the edge of this mountain used to be an ancient lake 100 million years ago. And there were pressures from the tectonic plates that pushed this mountain up. So it's no longer a lake bed. This part to the top of the mountain is the lake bed, and on the side of it to the left, you can see the striations of the layers of soil that had been deposited at the bottom of this lake hundreds of millions of years ago. And so it's a graphic description of some of the forces that are available in the creation of mountains. And so beautiful. The image of this mountain just is such a reminder of that for me. And as we're talking about mountains, for all of the viewers, it would be wonderful if you could share an image of your favorite mountain. If you have one, put it up in the comments under the video. We would love to have that sharing.
That's beautiful. So I would like to share with you some of the biblical perspective on mountains. We were asked to do that by Archangel Michael. So mountains are mentioned frequently in the Bible because they dotted the landscapes where the stories in the Bible take place. As a result, mountains and hills are mentioned more than 500 times in Scripture. Mountains have a logical religious symbolism for Jewish and Christian cultures, since they are closer to God who dwells in the heavens, as in the sky. As a result, God often reveals himself on a mountaintop in the text. In the Old Testament, the mountains of Sinai and Zion are most significant. Mount Sinai is the place where Moses received the gift of the law, the Ten Commandments. Mount Zion to the south is the location of the Jerusalem temple. In the New Testament, in Mark and Luke, Jesus appoints the 12 disciples on a mountain. In Matthew's Gospel, Jesus delivers the Beatitudes in his Sermon on the Mount. There are so many stories that have to do with mountains, and you can just feel the excitement and the love of the mountains through those. In Jesus Christ Superstar, the lyrics paraphrase a verse in the Bible about the resurrection of Christ. In regards to the excitement of the crowd, it was said, "Nothing can be done to stop the shouting. If every tongue were still, the noise would still continue. The rocks and stones themselves would start to sing." And so we're reminded that the rocks and the stones and the crystals that we work with in our light working are all pieces of mountains somewhere. So excited about the mountains, the rocks, and the stones today. So Teri, do you have an angel message for us for the mountains?
Certainly do. I tuned in with them before our show today just to see if they wanted to share anything in particular. And one thing they want to remind us of is that there are these beautiful crystals that come from our mountains. Each mountain produces different ones. These come up from that crystalline center of Earth, but the mountains actually bring them forward to us. The mountains are full of these crystals. So just as you connect with maybe your own crystals that you have around your house or in your sacred altar, connect with the mountains in that same way. This is the message that the angels have given. One thing that they shared is that if you want to connect with a specific mountain, let's say we talked today about some mountains, Mount Shasta, the Rockies, the beautiful mountains in Canada, the Appalachian Mountains. If you wish to connect with one of these powerful mountains specifically, talk to that mountain, ask to be connected to it. Just as you would pick up the phone and call a friend or call someone that you want to talk to, the same way from your heart, reach out to these mountains, their energy, their spirit. They are waiting to connect with you. And you can ask that mountain for anything. You can ask for a blessing. You can ask for a message. If you want to just communicate with mountain energy and not focusing in on a certain mountain, ask to speak to the highest power of that mountain. Just like we have a higher being, so do the mountains. So you would just reach out and ask to please connect with the higher energy of mountains to come to you. And it clears you. That's what that is all about. It's a clearing that happens even as I go into that energy. The mountains heal us. They heal our heart. This is what the angels say. I'm taking their word for it. And I've been really immersed in mountain energy. So I feel like my heart has shifted and changed, and I've released and purged a lot. So the angels have shown me to stay in that mountain energy. And anyone who wants to clear anything from your field that's unlike love, go into that mountain energy. You don't have to physically be there, but pull that vision in and pull that connection in with the angels and with the mountains and have them bring in clarity. Archangel Gabriel is always willing to bring in the clarity of the message. And that's what he did for me before the show today. And that was the message, that we can connect at any time, no matter where we are. But if you're right there in that beautiful area of the mountain, just sit and listen to what the mountain has to say and feel the healing that comes forth into your heart. Thank you.
That's beautiful, Teri. And Keira writes poetry that is channeled into her. Keira, you have a poem about the mountains.
Yes, I do. And before I share the poem that came through this morning, this poem came through just before the show today. And as you were speaking, Teri, when the moment that you said connect with the higher power of the mountain, the wind came up. I don't know if you could see or hear it, but the wind came up so strongly. And so it made me feel called to share how often the spirits of the mountain will communicate with the wind. The wind often comes down off of the mountains to sweep clean the valleys. And as Teri was speaking, Mount Shasta and the wind were coming through to affirm everything she was saying. So every time the wind comes up in that way, I really recognize that deep connection. And I thought that this poem that came through today felt like an appropriate way to lead you all into receiving the blessing from the mountains today. Mountain majesty, glory of divinity, rising up from earth to clouds, I invite you to remove your shroud and show your snow-capped peaks. When I look upon your rocky face, I feel the trace of ancient footsteps wandering with purpose to discover the depths of soul's imaginings. Oh, the mountains of my heart, you are the place I start to understand divinity, connect to infinity, and recognize the truth of me. I bow before you on my knees, offer myself in service to thee. O mountain, what would you ask of me if you could open your mouth and speak?
It's beautiful, Keira. Sharon, are you and Keira ready to share with us the crystal bowls?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Keira has hers behind her. I have the one I used last week here, and also have another one that really asked to be here. This is a diamond rose quartz singing crystal bowl that is really speaking loudly today. It feels like he's really connected to the heart of the mountain you were talking about, Keira. So okay, so as we go through into the sound, allow yourself to open your heart and open your ears. Connect with the mountain. and listen.
Oh my goodness, ladies, that is absolutely
Has
stunning.
Shasta has fresh snowfall from last night, and as we were sounding the bowls, I just felt this deep wave of gratitude from Mount Shasta. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you, Sharon.
Banded Peak, following this, I'd like to share Banded Peak's message here that came straight from a heart message from the Apu, or mountain spirit of Banded Peak. And often when this message was coming through, I could feel Banded Peak's presence, and often she will wrap her wings around me. And as she wrapped her wings around, I could feel her heart. I could feel Banded Peak's heart against my heart in the back of my heart chakra as she was saying this. So, this message comes through me directly from the heart of Banded Peak. And it begins with an invocation and then her message. Sute natia onaiti noate inan inan inan. Take my hand. Travel into the center of the mountain with me. From this center, expand your awareness and become the mountain. Feel the roots of the trees and plants being nourished in your blanket of soil. Feel the playful flow of water in your rivers and streams. Feel the footsteps of the animals tickle you as they walk on your soil. Feel the diversity and color of the community of rock people filling your inner being. Feel the immensity and variety of teeming life forms that live within you and on your surface. Feel the sparkle and light of the nature spirits that support life everywhere. Feel the wisdom of the ages present in your heart. Feel the loving community created by this teeming life. So many climb mountains to become closer to divinity. Mountain is here to remind you that you are divinity and you are one with all of life.
That was absolutely beautiful, Sharon. And I could feel the energy is different with the different mountains. You can truly feel that here while we're doing this.
Mhm.
Teri, do you have a prayer for the mountains?
Absolutely. I would ask that everyone please go into your hearts and join with me. You know, prayer goes two ways, and I feel that we have already received blessings and many, many messages from the mountains already here during this show. What I would like to offer up, and I ask that you all join me in that offering, is honor and respect, deep gratitude, as Keira mentioned. The line from the beautiful poem comes to mind of Purple Mountain's majesty. Mountains are majestic, whether they appear as purple or green or white, however you see them. So, O mountains, we offer you our love. We offer you honor and respect and so much gratitude for bringing joy to us, for bringing healing to our hearts, for bringing us moments of exhilaration, whether we are standing
Looks like Teri got frozen there. Teri, we lost your last line.
Let me go back into this energy.
Thank you.
We stand in awe of you, mountains. We respect and honor you. Whether we are looking up at you from below or we are standing on that highest peak, seeing the view that you have, we are one with you. We honor and respect and love you dearly. Thank you for what you bring to us. Thank you for the healing that we're feeling right now in our hearts from you. And I call on our Creator, God, asking for blessings for every mountain that exists on our planet, asking that each one be honored, that the life that lives in each mountain be honored. We are so grateful. Thank you. And so it is.
Teri, just the energy attached to that, I felt like every mountain just got a little taller.
Yeah. It was so emotional. really connecting in with that mountain energy and feeling the healing. That's what I felt, that heart healing.
Wow. Friends, thank you so much for joining us here at Enlightened World Network for this blessing from the mountains. Teri, would you like to close the circle for us?
Absolutely. Thank you to each person who joined today. Thank you for joining in our circle. I see us all standing around, holding hands, really giving honor and respect to our mountains as we've shared this information with you today. I would like to give gratitude to Archangel Uriel for grounding us and holding this energy. Archangel Gabriel for clarity. Archangel Michael, who held us protected and safe. And to Archangel Raphael, who brought healing during our time together. Thank you to every angelic being that was present, the mountain energies that were present, to Divine Mother, Christ Consciousness, and to our Creator God. And we close this meeting in this circle in reverence and honor for all life everywhere. Thank you so much, friends, for being with us today. Namaste.
Namaste.
Sharon, Teri, and Keira, thank you. On behalf of Enlightened World Network, thank you for sharing your hearts and souls with us. You give us the gift of you every time you're here with us, and I so love and appreciate each one of you. So thank you, everyone, for being here.